What is up, everyone? Alex here with another champion skin tier list. This time we're going to be covering Gwen, another one of the many top lane champions that terrifies me to the core, and she's cute as a button. See, that's funny because she's a doll and you know, she's got the eye. You guys get it. Gwen initially comes with one of my favorite character designs in the entire game, with her crazy blue hair contrasting really well with her very prim, polite appearance. There's also something very Kingdom Heartsy about giving her a big set of scissors to use as her weapon. Now, it's no giant key, but still very cool. Although I have been told semi-recently that using shearing scissors for anything other than fabric is incredibly bad for them, but hey, Gwen's probably the expert here, not me. If she wants to use them to fight evil, so be it. This video is going to be quite a bit shorter than the last few we've done, but hey, Gwen got a new skin recently, and I gotta cover all the champions at some point anyway, so why not? No better time than the present. If you're new here, quick explanation for the tier list. Few basic rules. First, A and S tier are both the very top. S tier is just reserved for my own personal favorite skin of each champion. There's only ever going to be one S tier pick for each champion, and it's for me to show my complete bias. A tier just means it's the champion's best skins. So if your favorite didn't make it into S tier, but it made it into A, I just want you to know I'm basically saying your choice is correct. The next rule is just that the base skin for a champion always goes into D tier. This just gives me a baseline to work with while I grade the rest of the skins. So despite me absolutely loving her base look, it has to go in D tier. Space Groove is her first skin up and is pretty good. She trades out her blue aesthetic for an orange and purple one. For lack of a better word, this skin looks smoother. I like it less just based off the splash art, but in-game it looks really good despite the fact that she loses her iconic spirally hairstyle. The skin also has some very high quality spell effects to it. She gets a new recall featuring a disco ball. I think as far as grading goes, we got to grade on a bit of a curve today. First of all, Gwen does not have a lot of skins, so we got to take that into consideration and kind of spread things out a little more. And, well, Gwen has a phenomenal base skin, which kind of lowers everything a little bit. Because if you're using a skin, you can't use her iconic, really well-designed look. I think we're going to set this one in B tier, but again, like I said, it's because of the two reasons I just listed. It's going to quickly get outclassed by some of her other skins. Cafe Cutie Gwen is her next one, and has a fancy Alice in Wonderland inspired look to her, and unlike Space Groove, she gets to keep her hair drills, and I'm not going to lie, that's very important to me. She looks very elegant, everything from her overall look to the new pair of scissors she has. It all looks very high quality, very fancy, very demure. I'm not going to do this bit again. I'm not doing it. These skins usually have some tea-inspired effects to them, but this one goes for some new flower-like patterns, and you get some cutlery effects in her Hallowed Mist ability as well. According to the info blurb for the skin, she uses her giant scissors for cutting candy instead of fabric. So in this universe, if you're made of candy, maybe don't make her mad at you. Looking at you, Ivern and Ziggs. She gets a new recall that involves a giant cake and a sentient stuffed cat. Cafe Cuties is a lot better than Space Groove in my opinion, but they both do a very good job of enhancing her look. But like I said, I like this one a little bit better. It's going to go into A tier, but I am made of candy and don't want to make her mad. So here we go. I'm going to give her A tier. Please don't hurt me. Soul Fighter is our next skin up, and these skins are a personal favorite of mine, even starting at the splash art. It's so vivid looking with the cell shading going on with it. It's very comic booky, very Borderlands-y. I definitely know that's not a word, but in-game, it somehow translates even better. Her overall outfit with this gothic kitty cat style look looks very good on her. But even with as good as it is, and don't get me wrong, it's a very good look for her, her scissors somehow steal the show. If we keep in line with the Borderlands parallel that I set up earlier, her scissors look like a super rare weapon complete with brand new shimmering effects all over it that just have paid DLC written all over it, which, I mean, technically it kinda is. Her effects are all new. She has purple, blue, and black effects going on. She also gets a cool new effect on her passive that I think looks really cool as well. Quite a bit different from what we've seen from her so far. I don't know if she's ever going to get an arcade skin necessarily, but this feels like it's kind of in the same vein as those, just kind of really going for a different vibe, especially when you compare it to her other skins. Few things I haven't mentioned so far when it comes to Gwen is that there are certain times when Gwen turns into a doll version of herself, her joke and her death animation. But they really did a good job of making the doll versions of herself look really good and match up with the skin really well, depending on which one you're using. They feel very detailed for something that's barely going to get looked at by most people. Fun little detail, if you do her joke and then move right away, it stays in her little doll version of herself just for like half a second. It's very, very funny, very adorable. Another doll-like detail I really like about Gwen is her pupils are X's to kind of look like sewn-on button eyes you'd find on a doll. This is going to be the only time I bring up a Coraline reference for the entirety of the Gwen video, but it looks like, you know the scenes from Coraline. You know the ones I'm talking about. I don't need to relive childhood nightmares here. It's mean of you to even make me do that. Listen, I'm stalling a little bit in case it wasn't obvious. This is going to get my S tier pick for the video. Big surprise. I really like the skin a lot. I don't play Gwen pretty much at all. I don't think I've ever actually played her. But everything about her aesthetic looks awesome, and this is 100% the skin I'd use the most. Maybe one day, if I decide to read the short American novel that is her abilities and her kit, maybe I'll eventually start playing her. Battle Queen is her newest skin, at least at the time of making this video anyway, and she's the monarch of an isolationist country that has decided to do away with the whole isolationist thing. The red dress looks fantastic on her and feels much more colorful than what we've seen so far, with the exception of Space Groove, but this feels more in line with Gwen's character. She gets some new fancy gold and blue spell effects that match with her new scissors, and she gets a brand new recall as well, although a little more understated than the other new recalls that she's gotten. Like I said, shorter video today. Gwen doesn't have a ton of skins, and she definitely doesn't have a legendary or an ultimate skin for me to spend several minutes talking about, so here we are. Oh, ranking this one. It goes in A tier. It's good. Great even. I'm very much hoping to see her get a bewitching skin here in the future. I feel like it would work really well for her. Alright, end of video time. We have the 5 skins here listed, so ordering them is going to be significantly less important than some of the other videos we've done, especially recently. This last part of the video is always unscripted, so I always feel naked and defenseless at the end, but that's okay. So, obviously, S tier Soul Fighter. It's her best skin. It's also my personal favorite skin. It's just so good. As for ranking these, I do believe Battle Queen is better than Cafe Cuties, so this order stands. Space Groove, honestly, in a few years when Gwen has more than a handful of skins, I just have to think that Space Groove would go into A, but if I did put it in A, our tier list would look like this, and that's silly looking. So it goes in B tier. And that's how we're gonna do it. D tier, I honestly think Gwen has one of the best base models in the entire game. It just goes in D tier, just cuz. And B tier, honestly, I probably like Gwen's base skin more than Space Groove, so in an ideal world, the tier list would look like this. But we're not gonna do that because I'm not gonna be really argumentative and inflammatory. So we're going to do it like this. Next week's video is going to be significantly longer because it's Garen, and Garen has a ton of skins because he's very, very old. But like I said, I'm covering every champion eventually anyway, so we covered Gwen today. Maybe by the time I cover everybody and we work our way back around to Gwen, maybe she'll have more skins to go over. So that'll be it for me today. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, all the good YouTuber things that we want you to do. Help me out, you know? I'd appreciate it. And I will see you all in the next one.